It's obviously important that staff, parents, and students are all clear about the purpose of homework and how it is important in the context of their academic experience. This sounds obvious, but too often homework is given to students because we're supposed to give homework without actually thinking about why we're supposed to give homework. I've given a series of assemblies to students to try and help them with self-regulation and the best ways to study, and I'll be following up on that ahead of the prelims. But the Short Life Homework Working Group has pulled together a message that we thought should be shared with all staff to get us on the same page. And that's the point of this video and the associated email. Nothing in here should or will surprise you, but it's definitely worth taking a step back and evaluating our own practice. Way too often we say, well, that's just common sense, then we go back and keep doing the exact same thing we've always done. Homework to some seems like a necessary evil. The very word conjures up images of a forlorn student semi-buried in a pile of jotters and textbooks while looking longingly out the window at their friends playing in the park. But we know that when done right, it can be extremely helpful and not overly time-consuming. It can be the difference between a fail and a pass, an A and a B, between having to sit through this course again next year and not. Now let's start with what's not good homework. Now, mainly, this is homework that is given to fulfill the time requirement. We all know that there's a homework document out there that outlines how much time we recommend students spend on homework for each subject. I see this as more for the student than for me. In other words, ideally, student, you'll focus on improving in this subject for this amount of time per week. Let's not let the tail wag the dog by churning out task after task to meet a time requirement. In conjunction with the Education Endowment Foundation's teaching toolkit, the working group suggests that, in almost all cases, homework should serve one of three purposes. Number one, for practice. This is independent practice or rehearsal of content already taught because we don't have time to do it all in class. In fact, it's not truly independent until they are actually doing it on their own. This should be the most common purpose of homework. The goal is to consolidate learning and or to extend or apply it. The most important thing here is that students are able to do the tasks independently. They should have all the necessary tools taught by you, and they should not have to seek help from parents. The second purpose is for preparation, often in the form of pre-reading complex texts. The goal here is to have something to which we can anchor new learning. The third purpose is for revision, for assessments, using retrieval practice. Now, we should continually ask ourselves, does my homework serve one of these three purposes? If not, I'm probably not doing the right thing. Additionally, when possible, homework should exploit interleaving. In other words, mixing the revision focus to bounce between units and topics. And lagging, basically separating tonight's homework from today's classwork. When possible, it should use or it should help consolidate understanding of subject-specific Tier 2 and 3 vocabulary. There's more information on this available in the EEF's findings on literacy. When possible, it should have students engaging in activities that require retrieval practice, like using their knowledge organizers, creating and using flashcards and mind maps to read, cover, write, check, correct, repeat. Homework should also always be efficient, not taking an inordinate amount of time, but still requiring some hard thinking. And probably most importantly for us, the marking load for teachers should be minimal. More effective feedback can happen in class. So how do we do this? Well, if you're clear about the goal or the purpose of a homework task, in other words, to learn X, consider ways of assessing whether they've learned X without having to mark every bit of homework. The goal of homework is not to do the homework, rather it's to support learning. Could you use show me boards to assess the effectiveness of that homework task for learning X by making it visible? Could you use a daily review activity along with effective questioning or multiple choice questions to check that the homework was successful? This is a difficult thing for some to consider. Surely to justify assigning homework and having them do it, I need to mark it all. Well, maybe sometimes, but the bottom line is keep an eye on the purpose of your homework and achieve that purpose as efficiently as you can. You are going to get an email summing all of this up, and your task is to reply all to the email, sharing any tips or tricks or resources or websites or apps that you use to make homework more efficient and effective. please don't just automatically go back to what you've been doing without having a think about the implications of what this working group has discussed, and talk to the member of your faculty involved. Thanks.